That up and get myself situated. Crack a soda. Leg pads. Bottle. Woo! Brown bottle. That base, this bin. Here's a nice bottle I got last night. That base, I think, has potential. So maybe we'll use that one. And if neither of those work, I'll just switch over to working with chert or Dacite or any of this stuff around here. Some nice flakes that are ready to be arrowheads. Look at that. That's halfway to an arrowhead already. How was everybody's New Year? Doesn't look like I've got anybody signed on yet. That's okay. It gives me a chance to get organized. I am an old hand at talking to myself. There is no problem with that. No problem whatsoever. And let's see, I'll put the tools over here. Flaking tools over there. I've got one more pressure flaker. There it is. Boom! That one, I could stand to resharpen that one a little bit, but I don't know if I'll bother just yet. Look at that. That wants to be an arrowhead, doesn't it? It's like, once you start doing this, like, everything looks like tools. Everything looks like tools. I wonder if I have more Dacite somewhere. Oh, what's this? Not Dacite. Good looking piece of chert. I'll get around to that eventually. I see more chert. Yeah, I think I'm sort of out of Dacite. This is good looking stuff. Look at that. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, we got some folks signed on. Awesome. I'm thinking, yesterday I made this little arrowhead from a glass bottle. There you go. I'm thinking we should try that again. I got this nice, this was a bottle of soju that some friends brought. And it's kind of this nice light blue glass. So I'm thinking maybe we'll bust the bottom out of this thing and make an arrowhead out of it. Let's see, just checking the comments here. Hello, folks. Hey, Latif. What's up, Heather? Alistor. Well, 29 people. I'm breaking, huh? So there's a couple of ways to do this, to get this bottom out. Just the bottom, because we can't use the curved part. And the way that I've found, it's a little weird. It's a little extreme, but it seems to work well. I've got some water in this spray here. I'm gonna fill this up, I don't know, halfway, maybe not quite halfway. I really need to look into the physics of this too, so I can explain what's going on. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not sure it matters. So I've got that filled with water. And let's see, I've got a mallet that I made, a wooden mallet. If you hold this really tight and smack the top of the bottle, it ends up breaking out the base. I think the bottle gets ahead and then the water lags a little and then catches up and slams the... I think that's what happens, but I think we need a slow motion camera to prove it. But yeah, hey, maybe I'll hit this highlight button here and maybe I can make something happen. All right, everyone ready? I'm holding it away from me. I've got glasses on. I've got a glove on. There's nothing important on the ground. And I just hit my hand. This worked yesterday. I swear. All right, we're gonna weaken the bottom a little bit. I'm gonna save this water for a minute now. And I've got a nail. I'm gonna drop that in there and hit it all along the edge. I think what we're doing is making little, fractures, little invisible fractures along the rim. I did do this yesterday before the water trick, and now I'm thinking it mattered. A big nail in there. Okay. I don't know if that's enough. We'll see if that's enough. I'm going to put the water in. There's probably other good ways to do this, but it's low tech and it seems to work, or at least it did. It has in the past. And boom! Bingo! Right off the bottom. Nice piece of glass that we can use for making our arrowhead right out of this blue soju bottle. So, it was a good experiment to see if I could do it without the nail, but that really seemed to make a big difference. If you pour water on a rock, nothing... Huh? I'm not sure what you mean there, my friend, but anyway, let's get into it. So I'm going to take one of my smaller boppers here, and you see I've got this, a little bit of the edge of the bottle still on the rim. I'm going to put that on my leg at an upward angle like this, and I'm just going to make little taps to break that stuff off. That's what it looks like. Hey, Carlos. How is Brazil? All the way around and get rid of those. Get rid of that little lip. We don't need that stuff, and it's going to get in our way. Just little taps. And because I've got it up like this, it breaks off the what's left of the wall of the bottle without going deep into this part, the flattish part, which I need to preserve to make the arrowhead. It's got a bit of a curve on the bottom. It's how thick is it? It's got some thickness, but because this isn't perfectly flat on the bottom, we might end up with an arrowhead. It's got just a tiny bit of a curve to it. If the glass is straight to begin with, that's best. Or if it's got a bit more thickness, then you can flake more pieces off. Yeah, I'll tell you what this will be. So I made this arrowhead last night in a different live stream. Using the technique I'm showing you right now. So I thought, again, because I got this, I don't know, pretty new piece of glass. So it could actually be used on an arrow. Or, this could also make a pendant, whatever. It's the way to practice flapping, even if you don't have fancy rocks. If you don't have anything in particular, it can be done with just plain old bottle. And I thought I would show people how to do that. All right, just working my way around this edge. Almost got all of it. And I'll give you another update. So I'm picking the shards off with the pad. I never ever brush. I flick them up like that. There is just too many sharp pieces of glass to put your hand anywhere in there. Okay. Just a little bit over here. Actually, that I could leave that and just do it with pressure flaking. So, just using my small of the copper boppers, I went all around and broke off what was left of the wall of the bottle, leaving me with this more or less flat piece of glass, which is what we were after for the raw material to make an arrowhead. I've also seen people flint knap hearts, you know, just pendants or that kind of stuff. The difference between them, the two are not a lot, an arrowhead and a heart, just proportions. So I'm going to use the abrader, and I'm going to go all over the edge. This is just a piece of a grinding wheel, but you can also go out and find yourself a rough stone. This isn't as rough as it used to be because I've used so much, it's actually becoming smooth. You do this for a couple reasons. Those will become apparent as we go on here. So I'm taking off the really sharp stuff and I'm scratching the surface because that way my tool, my other tool, won't slip off of it. Yeah, you'll see Ickbin in just a moment here. We're going to use this. Or maybe I'll use my wooden-handled one. This, same thing. Store-bought, homemade. This is a pressure flaker. We could also use the tip of an antler. That's the traditional tool, the tip of an antler. This is a knife and made an antler handle for it. Look at that. Nice obsidian knife. Which is the light well, huh? Obsidian knife. Let's see, there's a couple others in here I can show you. Here's a chert knife, kind of the same style. And this one's one of my favorites. But not making a knife today. I'm making an arrowhead. All right, so let's get started. So I'm also going to use this rubber hand pad. You don't have to use that. You can also use just some leather folded up and put in your hand like this. Serves the same purpose. I just kind of like this a little bit better. So I hold that in my hand like so. And then the tip of the tool gets put onto the edge. And then I push in and a little bit down. And just to make all of that easier, I use my legs. So, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this one. I like this one a lot. All right, but to avoid, you know, using just arms, you can put this whole arrangement out here by your knees. And that way, when you put the tool where it needs to be, squeeze your legs together in addition to using your arms. And your legs are much, much stronger. And then you can push off a little flake. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, right there. So I just pushed off a flake right there. Right the area that's no longer smooth. So I will do some more. So I'll do a bunch and then I'll show you again. Put the tool on the edge. You push in, squeeze your legs, and breaks. And I'll just work my way down one side. And I'll probably have to get the abrader out again and do that some more. Especially if my tool starts sliding, which I think it will. Just rough that up a little bit. Because otherwise, the copper tool likes to slide around. So if you abrade it a little bit, it tends to slip around less. So then you can keep working. Oh yeah, stone knives, very sharp. This is an antler, a white-tailed deer antler, the base of a white-tailed deer. That's what that handle is. These are both antler tips. This knife this is a wood handle on this one. This one's of a particular style. My friend made this one. But you have the knife like this when you're doing something, then flip it up, continue whatever you're doing, and then let it hang if you need to, both hands, flip it back up, and then you put it away in a sheath or something when you're done. That's a wood handle there. If you got a really big piece, like if you made a knife out of this one, you could simply wrap the base with some leather, rawhide, or buckskin. Just wrap it around, and that gives you a place to hold it and to work with it, because it's big enough that you could do that. So you wouldn't have to take the time necessarily to make a separate handle. So I have 2 chips off here. See up here? You got to make... No, not really. But yeah, started right in there. And let me just continue. I'm going to get the abrader out again. 35 people. Hey, folks. My name is Doug North. I enjoy making things, and I enjoy making things from the past, from history and prehistory. And so one of the things I do is which is the art of making stone tools. And I was demonstrating yesterday that you don't have to have special stone. You can do it with glass. And this is a bottle, the bottom of a bottle that I made into an arrowhead yesterday. And I'm doing the same thing with this bottle that I just got yesterday. It looked like pretty glass, so I thought maybe I'd make. All right, grab my tools. Hey, from Europe, that's cool. Have a good night yourself. And this is called pressure flaking. It's not always done with pressure. Sometimes it's done with percussion, small hits using a tool like this. Work my way around. And be careful of the chips that come off, because they are small and sharp. Let's see, where was I? Right there. I really want to do this side. Trying the curve in the bottle. The base isn't perfectly flat, so I've got to kind of... It's better if I take the first section of flakes off. If it's curved like this, it's better if I take my set of flakes off from the bottom, because that raises that up and makes it just a little bit flatter. This thing may never be perfectly flat. Turn the heater down. Go. Update here in a second. So you can see the flakes starting to appear on this edge. And we'll just continue with that. I think this is a really good way to get into flint knapping if anyone out there is interested in it, because, well, bottles are very easy to get, and I won't use many tools. Yeah, a couple that are specialized, but not many. And there's options in terms of what you use for tools. So it's possible that you can make the stuff with what you have around the house, maybe. Maybe you've got to go pick up one or two things, but it's not like you need to order a bunch of stuff from a specialty store to do what I'm doing with the bottle glass. So I think it's kind of an approachable way to it if you're thinking about it. So I'm almost chipped away, at least some, on this half. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna look really neat. So I'm just sort of working around the whole edge at this point. You kind of have to get into it, get past the little manufactured rim. So, at least take a flake from everywhere, all around the edge. Wear glasses. I'm in my workshop, so it doesn't matter what's on the ground, but obviously it's a lot of sharp pieces. Clean up well. It's best to put down a big tarp. That's what I've done. That way you can sweep everything up really quickly and easily. Okay. Give you a little update. It's different, but I'm starting to work my way around. Just for those who haven't seen it, this was yesterday's. I made Arrowhead. I made bottle, the bottom of a bottle. And let's see. Here's what they look like when I make them out of chert. There's a nice Arrowhead. Made from Dacite. And of course, there's many other materials. There's a bunch of different materials that one can use to flint knap with. So every time you hear a little pop, that's the sound of me pushing a little flake off. Just going to braid this edge a little more. Keep you updated. Nice piece of very light green glass. Guess it's mostly blue, I'd say. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Can you believe it? 2025. I think that means we're officially living in the future. That just sounds like a future number. Not just angle or color. Probably up closer like that. Get my head out of the way. How about like that? Yeah. Flip it over for you. So you see it breaks, it flakes, just like the more traditional materials. if I had a great big piece of glass, you know, I could make anything, you know, I could make something like this. You could make a giant spear point or whatever out of if you had a big piece of glass. Kind of. A little bit right there that's kind of fighting me. I need to abrade it really well. The tool is slipping off the edge a lot, so I'm just going to rough it up. Just getting rid of the last of the thick bits on the edge, and then I can really start shaping it. Getting too warm. Okay. Use the legs if you can. And this thick spot, there we go. Yep, roughing it up really helped. Oof, I think I got to take my watch off. That's way today. There we go. Oh yeah, that'll be better. More better. Okay. All right. I think I've gone around. You can see the flakes. Well, what you're seeing are the flake scars. And have I done both sides? No. Most of what was the bottom of the bottle, this side. As I mentioned, it's a little bit curved. So if I get rid of that outer edge, it makes the piece just a little bit more flat. But now I can start working both sides and start thinking about bringing it to a point. So start, you know, taking the sides down. Maybe I'll make like a wider one this time, because, you know, I don't really plan to put this on an arrow or anything. So maybe it's either a different style of point or just a bit more decorative. As I said, you know, you can make these things into like pendants if you like that kind of thing. Little piece stuck in my hand. So I'm going to grab a flake here, and I'm just going to flick it out. There we go. It just flew when I was making a flake. It just popped back toward me for some reason. Just okay. Pretty cool. Isn't that awesome? Let's start working down one side, kind of making it straight. So when you're trimming, when you're not trying to push long flakes in, you can kind of hold the piece up at an angle and rest it on your leg pad, and then bring this tool in and then just sort of push down, straight down. So it makes short flakes. It's fine, because all I'm really trying to do is trim the edge, give it a shape. I'm not really trying to thin the piece right now. So you can just down. And if you do a sequence of these right next to each other, you can start to make line. See that right there? Right in here. So we're starting to get a straight edge on that side. Just the beginning of a straight edge. And I'll continue a little deeper, which will make it a little longer. Get rid of the glass chips often, because you don't want sometimes your hand pad and you don't want a bunch of glass chips in your knuckle. Check it out. Straight edge there. The beginning of one. A little further, and I'll flip it over and I'll start a straight edge on the other side. Clear those chips. So that when you do that, it does leave you with something of like a kind of a, it's not quite a right angle, but this angle is pretty steep. And that can be a little hard to work from. But if you make sure to rough it up, then when I go to work on that edge by putting the tool against there, it doesn't slide as much because those little scratches keep sliding. So now I'll do some flakes off the opposite side where I made that straight line. And these I'll push in to make the flakes longer so that the piece gets thinner. It doesn't need to be much thinner because the glass is already thin. It's the traditional practice, and that way, I'll start to get rid of the smooth manufactured surface. You see how now I'm getting these flakes along that edge as well. Not many on this side yet, but there will be in a moment. So I'm working on this one straight side for my arrow. Can you start to just barely see where I'm headed? Now I'll do a straight side over here, right? And they'll meet at and make a point. And then we'll come up with some kind of notching system or something down at the base. And we will have made an arrowhead out of trash. That feels like a win to me. So this is a good way to practice. Flint knapping, a good way to get into it if you don't have a lot of special material. If you don't have in your area, or if you don't want to purchase it online, glass is pretty easy to get to. It's pretty easy to get. This was just going to get recycled. Instead, I get to make something cool out of it. All right, I'm going to hop over to this other side and start working on that straight edge over there. Let's see, where do I want to get rid of? Yeah. So once again, just holding it up at this angle and going right on the tip and pressing down, and it breaks off very short flakes. And then I just do one next to the other in a row and start to get a straight edge. Clear those flakes often. They are sharp. There's no doubt about it. Okay. We got that side becoming straight, this side becoming straight, and we're going to bring those two together eventually, slowly, until they form a point at the top. Makes sense, right? Arrowheads come in many different shapes, but they almost always have a point at the top. Every kind has a point at the top, but almost every kind. Clear those flakes, boy. They are sharp, and I don't want to get them that fingertip. So you can see the flakes are much deeper on this side because I worked from that. The edge that I just showed you, I said was almost 90 degrees. Well, now I've got one on this side. It's not straight up and down, but it's sort of like, it's about that angle. So if now I can push in and down, and I'll take flakes off from down here. So I'll do that now. Let me first rough it up with a brader so the tool doesn't slip. Okay. And then you put it down on the pad, hold it like that, and the edge I'll be working on this edge by putting the tool on a low spot, pushing toward the center of the piece, and then down just a little bit, and that will pop off a flake. And there, that was one. That's it. And then I just move the tool down a little bit every time, so I do the whole edge. Might need to abrade just a little bit more. Well, yeah, no, let me just do a couple more flakes and then I'll show you where I'm at. Got some straight siding, so that's good. It'll be much easier to work on once those sides are established. Look at that. So I just did this side. Straight-ish side and a straight-ish here. And this is starting to look like a point, but we're going to need to take more material away until these meet point. So I'll start focusing up here and over here to try and bring those together. I'd like to get rid of all of the smooth manufactured surface so that the whole is more looks more traditional with the flake. That's just a preference thing. You don't have to do that. All right. Thank you, everybody, for spending a little time with me. It's fun, right? As I said, this is a really good way to get into flint knapping. Start with pressure flaking. That's what I'm doing right now with this tool. And just use bottle glass. And that way you don't have to go in search of or buy, very specific types of stone. I purchased mine because I don't have a lot of sources where I live. Some places have good sources, and if you're in one of those places, I'm jealous. I'm envious. Like if you live somewhere that's obsidian, well, you could get very good at flint knapping. Because it's like if you have a lot of material, you can do a lot of practice. Little bit closer to being a tip. Just brought these two together a little bit. All right. And then it's like a lot of repeating. Happy New Year, Carissa. Start the new year with an ancient craft. Start the new year with something old. Making tools. Today, specifically glass. But modern glass, as long as it's not tempered or safety glass, it breaks just like the stones used to make stone tools. It's a property of the material called fracture. And that doesn't just mean when you break a bone, it's a fracture. But this is a term used by geologists to describe the way it breaks. So both glass and a piece of dacite and flint and chert jasper, chalcedony, they all have this property called fracture. It's what allows us to break it in these very specific ways to make stone tools. So that's your little gypsum. Very, but that's an important thing to know if you're going to get into flint knapping, is that you can't just pick up any rock and do this. No, you have to have a rock that property. If the rock doesn't have that property, and it's not made up of very, very fine crystals, then when you go to break it, you'll probably be able to break it, but it won't break in any special way. It'll just crumble. So like this rock, for example, which I could not flint knap this rock. It does not have fracture. If I did this hard with one of my tools, it would just snap. It wouldn't form a long flake like this. It wouldn't a piece like that. It would just break and crumble. So flint knapping stones are usually high in silica and have very, 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 very small crystals, microcrystalline structure. And that means it's homogeneous. That means it's the same everywhere inside of it. There's no like little bits of, one kind of stone and another kind of stone and another kind of stone, sandstone or something, like this, though you can't really see this anymore. I've scratched it so much. But it's all the same on the inside. So high in silica, very homogeneous on the inside, all the same. And then it has that property of fracture. And if the stone has all of those things, then you can use flint knapping. Well, then you have a chance of flint knapping it. So you see my point is starting to develop. We could also make a heart with this. Or something else. I'm just going to keep going for now. I think I'll make an arrowhead, but that's what the title of the live stream says, so I should probably stick to that just so there aren't any nasty people paying us a visit. Yeah, pretty cool, Carissa, huh? This is a very ancient craft that has been practiced all over the world. That's one of the things I think it's most fun about it. Is that it's so important to our history that pretty much any go, at some point, people were making tools this way. That's just kind of mind-blowing. It might have been a very long time ago. Look at that. Blue glass arrowhead in thing, folks. I'm going to turn this heater right off. It is so warm. Okay. Now, that's pretty wide. Most arrowheads are a lot more pointy. So, while I'm not really planning on putting this on an arrow, I just think it will look more appropriate if I make it a little narrower. But if you were just doing this as some sort of decorative art, like you could leave this. You could make all kinds of crazy shapes. You don't have to make things that are based on arrows and spears and stuff. you know, it's kind of up to your imagination and your skill as a flint napper. You could definitely make all kinds of crazy shapes using these same techniques. Some people do that. It's not where my interest lies, so I don't do it, but you certainly could. No, sir. That may be a term of endearment, but not here. Thank you very much, Carissa. Thanks for stopping in. Please check out my other content. I have a new video out this week, and stop in again. It was very nice of you to check it out. I appreciate it. Awesome. Keep you updated here. If anyone has joined recently and you don't know already, my name is Doug North. I like to make and use and create items from history and prehistory. I've been learning the very ancient art of flint knapping, which is how stone tools were made. Here's an example of one started. Not a finished tool, really. Here's something more finished. Some knife blades were made in this design long ago. Here's one with a handle. And of course, common thing that's made using this technique are arrowheads. These are all pieces I've made. And today I'm just doing something a little different. This is the bottom off of this barrel that friends brought to our house last night. And I thought it would be neat to make a arrowhead out of this green glass, or blue glass, I guess. So I'm slowly working on that. So we've got flaking happening on both sides. Starting to work my way into here to get rid of the this super smooth manufactured surface. That's another reason to narrow it, is just to start to get rid of that. I think it'll just look a lot, I don't know, more traditional, even though you know, I'm doing it out of a modern bottle and all that. It just should look like an arrowhead, you know? And having that perfectly smooth surface, that doesn't look right. Not to me. Not to me. Okay, I'm going to trim this up a little over here. Some short flakes. Just putting the tool right on the edge and pushing down just to take little trimming flakes off of there. And then I'll abrade it. My tool doesn't slip, and that will allow me to flip it over and take some longer flakes off the other side. And I'll hold it up for you in just a moment. I've made big progress on figuring out how to do a 2-camera setup. So I think that'll help a lot, just so that way you'll be able to see sort of what I'm doing right now from this view. I just think that'll be much more helpful. Okay. More of the same. Grind, flake, grind, flake. Continue. Hey, Joseph. It came out right here. I had a little accident just before finishing. Let me put some of this down so I can tell you. Thanks for stopping by again. So I had a little problem finishing. I broke off a little corner here. And it was driving me crazy. So I just broke off the other side just to make it even. It would still be a totally functional arrowhead. I mean, this is sharp, strong, pretty thin enough. So, of like a survival situation, yep, viable arrowhead. And of course, if you're just making jewelry out of it, it would also be pretty cool. Get this on like a cord, maybe a little bit of silver wire to wrap it, make a loop, and then yeah, that'd be a pretty cool pendant, you know? Definitely people do this. So yeah, it turned out okay. So I figured I got another new bottle last night. This bottle of soju, which I'd never had before. Some friends brought it over. And so I popped the bottom off of that. And now we're making an arrowhead from a soju bottle. Thank you very much. That's kind of you to say. It's always a good feeling when you can make something neat out of like trash. I think. You know, this is just going to get recycled. Now I keep my eyes open for different bottles, especially ones that are thick. Thick bottles are better. This glass is a little thicker than this. What is this? This is a fancy root beer. It's kind of like a standard beer bottle. It feels very thin. So, I mean, I might be able to make an arrowhead out of that base, but I'm really sure I'd be able to make something, but it might have a lot of a curve. This one's got a bit of a curve. Not terrible, and I'll reduce some of that as I flake into it more. Actually, I'm starting to get into the middle a little bit right now. See if I can extend those flakes. Make it thinner, just make it look more like an arrowhead, not a bottle. Okay, onward. You been looking for a good bottle? To flint knap? Or for something else? Ooh, inadvertently started to give this a bit of a curve this way. I mean, if I'm not going to put this on an arrow, then it's sort of like I want. I could make it look, give it a little bit of a curve if I wanted. I'm not sure if that's what I want, but maybe. Yeah, bottles can have some really good glass. I've found some that had flat sides. It's like this, but then like squished down so that the bottle, if you look from the bottom, is kind of like that. And sometimes these sides are pretty flat. That can be like a nice big chunk of glass to work with. Okay, push some longer flakes in from this side. Let's see. Yeah, give those a try. I mean, just keep out for anything. I'm not sure if I know I've mentioned it in previous streams, but it is so. Hold on, let me dig around here for just a moment. It is also possible to flint knap this, which is the top of a toilet tank. It's ceramic, but has enough of the same properties as a stone that you can flint knap it. It's not the greatest, but you can do it. You can do it. I'll knock a flake off from this. I'll take a tiny break from the arrowhead and I'll knock a flake off from here. Let's see. Just find a spot. Maybe get a good looking flake right there. Well, my flake broke, but it came from right here, right there. Nice flake right there. It is totally possible to make stone tools, arrowheads from toilet tank. The bowl doesn't seem to work very well. It's too many curved surfaces. Maybe other people have had luck with that. I have not. Okay, back to the arrowhead, right? Yeah, back to the arrowhead. That's why we're here. Okay. Oops. I need a little bit more braiding. My tool is slipping off the edge there. Where it's white is where I've braided it, and where it's more clear, it's where it's still. And I just need to make sure that I've got little scratches on there, because that helps the tool stay right on there. Oh yeah, good, good. on this side. Come on now. I might need the, I might use this just to get into a little tight spot that I've, yeah, there we go. The end of that other tool was just a little too big to get this spot near the tip that I was trying to push off. So just like anything, you want the right size tool for the job. Just so that moat for the moment, I needed one that was a little bit smaller. Okay, push some flakes off from over here. A little bit more of that. Okay. A little piece of glass in my hand there. Got to brush that off. Pretty. Starting to be, I guess. A little bit. And let's see. Some trimming flakes. Just little short ones, little nibbles. Elliot, look at that. See, came off this bottle to this bottle. Not sure where the light's best, but. More braiding. Start to take a look at the bottom here too. A little bit. update for those. Just checking in, making this arrow out of the bottom of this bottle that I got last night. Yeah, it's a very subtle, kind of pretty blue when the light catches it right. It's kind of of course it's glassy, ice-like. Yeah, I would hope it's glassy. It is in fact glass, but in certain light it looks like ice, I think. Which is neat. All right, a little bit more braiding just to do my due diligence here. Okay. It's looking like an head. Starting to. More and more. Still got some unchipped area in the middle there. I'm trying to decide, should do a couple more passes to get rid of that. Yeah, why not? We're here. We're here. Those could be famous last words. It's a little hard to see some aspects of this because it's so clear. You gotta move it in the light a little bit just to see what you're working on. Those chips, those aren't going to help me. Hey, how are you? You must be on the other side of the world from me. It's coming along, huh? Yeah. Arrowhead. Ah, cool. England. Very cool. I just dropped it. Let's see. I didn't break it, but I've got to find it on the floor full of chips. Get a closer look. The edge is kind of rough, but I can go through, you know, when I've decided on the final size, I go through and kind of clean up any of those ragged edges, make it nice and uniform. This is the bottom of this soju bottle that someone brought to my house last night. And I thought, well, that looks like a nice glass. Maybe I should make another arrowhead from it. Yeah, glass is neat. If you can find a source of some colored glass, you can make some really, really fun looking things. Bottles are great just plentiful and free. But you end up making small things. That's okay. Great way to practice. Potentially useful in a zombie apocalypse, I guess. Potentially. As much as anything is useful in a zombie apocalypse. All right. Start thinking about the maybe. Could go in from the corner. Those have to be pretty deep. I'm a little wary of that. First, I'm just gonna make it a little bit more uniform. Just even it out a little bit, flatten it a little. Oh yeah, so, yeah. There's some old bottles there. They tended to use thicker glass back then too, which if you're breaking them for Flintknapping, gives you more options, right? You missed the bottle part. It's a technique I can describe to you. So first thing I did was I took this nail. Actually, I could demo it again. Let's do it. So if you weren't here initially, I took a nail and I put it in the bottom, and then I shake it so that the nail hits around the bottom edge, around here. All right, hopefully that's enough. Then I took some water. Put it in the bottle. Now I have a wooden mallet. You watching? You ready, Joseph? Like that. Unfortunately, that one was not a success. But often, if you spend more time with a nail and give it a pop with water in it, just the bottom breaks out. So, I don't know what I did wrong that time, but I could still make a very small something out of that flat piece. But that was the method I used. It tends to work though. That did not work. So I apologize, but such is the nature of live demos. Things don't work when you're actually live in front of people. Yeah, I've seen various methods using fire, but I haven't really tried any of them. I think I once tried putting string in lighter fluid, and then I tied that around the bottle, and I lit it, and I let that heat, and then I put that in water. I think that worked. I can't remember. I was trying to get the bottom off. I think that worked, but I've only done it once. I don't remember it that well either. It was a few years ago. I like the bottom. You know how the bottom of wine bottles have that depression on the bottom side. You know, they're like really steep depression up there. One of the things to practice is making fire with bow drill. And it makes an excellent bearing block for the top of the spindle. Spindle can rotate in that depression. Very little friction there. So all your friction could be down on the hearthboard where you want it to be hot. So why were potheads breaking bottles? Just for fun? Really? Wow, just a lighter, huh? So you just hold, you hold the bottle and a lighter like this and just rotate and it eventually breaks? I should try that. Of course, I've got this here too. I don't know if that's a better idea or worse. But yeah, I've got a little propane torch right over there. My whole workshop, but you don't get a tour of my whole workshop just sitting right here. Maybe I can give you a tour sometime, or oh, right. Huh. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. I should look into some of the other methods. I wish my flakes were getting all the way to the center. See, I've got this remnant of unflaked area. I could push a few flakes from the bottom. That's what that gets me. Hot knives. Let's see. Push a few flakes from the bottom. See if I can get rid of some of that unflaked area. Yeah. Oh. That's helping. Let's see. I don't know how to hold this so you can actually see that. There. So I just right up to here. Let's see, a couple more. That's going to help a lot, just in terms of the visuals of the surface. This is really just kind of a decorative piece, I think, though. You can definitely make functional arrowheads out of glass. Another time to bring up Ishi. The last of the Yahi Native Americans, the Yahi tribe. He napped some arrowheads out of glass, and they are just magnificent, beautiful work. He was very skilled. You should look those up online if you haven't seen them before. I think he used the insulators from power lines. So that's nice thick glass, but it was kind of colored, you know, so it was like, I think, a deeper blue than this. Well, no worries. You taught me something. I'm not complaining. Yeah, so I got rid of most of the flat surface. I could sneak a couple more in there. Braid to make that surface tougher. And I'm going to try and preload this. I'm going to put my tool on the spot and then push and let the pressure build up until it flakes. Didn't really work, but I did get a flake. It just didn't go very far. Do I do one more round? Kind of feel like I have to. I'm just being picky. See that little smooth right here? This tool, this is a pressure flaker. And yeah, all these stone tools, only take so much impact. Though if you were to shoot that into a white-tailed deer, it might come out whole if you own. But yeah, they break. They break. It was done for thousands and thousands of years. I shot one at and missed this year, and it broke. Just the tip broke. It was an arrowhead. This one. This is my typical style, and it broke. You know, it broke like in here, so the top bit came off. If I was, you know, that if my life depended on it, I could have retouched up that arrow and just made a little head, and it's still, I could have gotten another use out of it. So do break for sure, especially if you miss. But it's just part of the game. It's a way to make a very sharp. And the trade-off is they're fragile. Yeah, and that's the big. I suppose that's one of the real big advantages of metal, is you can make something very sharp, and whereas these are very sharp but very brittle. Yeah, yep. Those technologies definitely came about at different times in different places, for sure. Gonna fuss with this surface a little bit. Maybe I can pull some flakes off from this. There's a little edge. I don't think I can grab it, but try. Just a tiny edge. If I can put my tool and pull off a little surface flake. Nah, it was worth a shot. It didn't seem to work. I got a little one. Oh. I'm torn. Oh yeah, that dagger that Tutankhamun in his, yeah, meteorite. Yeah, that was iron, but anybody had iron, if I remember correctly. This could be a pendant. Ooh. But I guess I got to do a base of some sort. This. Break out the grease pencil. I don't know if it'll write on this. I could chip away these areas where I did white with the grease pencil. Oh, you can't see that. There and there. Well, I'm not going to shoot this one. This is just I think this will be just a decorative piece, and maybe I'll turn it into a piece of jewelry for someone. All right. I think I'm going to try some coming in from the corners. I don't have a lot of practice with that kind, so I'm a little unsure of myself, but let's see. Just a little start there on the corner. Oh, sure, yeah. Whatever works. You got, and whatever works. my little, let's see, there we go. There's my little corner notch started. Sword versus leg bone. Well, it depends on how good you are with that leg bone. We might argue that the leg bone person will be faster, maybe. Yeah, I agree though. I wouldn't want to be the leg bone guy in that fight. No, no, no. Sort of stalling out here. My chipping technique isn't the best. Let's see, find something to put it on. There we go. I almost think I'm going to switch your tool for a little bit here. They're kind of, they don't need to be quite this narrow right now. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going to mount this to an arrow or anything like that. I'm just going to hold on to it, or maybe make it into a piece of jewelry for someone. The proportions are kind of weird for, well, I suppose there were arrowheads that were about like this, but it's just not the style I use. That's got to go a little bit more up. Let's see, just the base. Thank you for the props. I appreciate the help there. I should let you know, I started a Patreon. Just sort of, you know, if you get value out of this and feel like dropping a monthly something or other my way, that's fine. That'd be great. If not, that's fine too. But it's Doug North, DUGNORTH on Patreon. Got a couple of different tiers. No real rewards. It's just a way of showing support if you're feeling that way. Ooh, let's see. A little funky bit at the bottom there. No, my Patreon is not in my description. That is something I should probably start doing. As you can tell, I'm new to this, learning every day. That is an idea. Just that much easier for people to find it. See, just checking the symmetry. Yeah, take a little off here. Not exact, but I don't normally do notches, so this is a bit of a challenge. Let's see, kind of shows up well against my sweater. Got a little weird. It's a slightly deeper flake. The edge is actually kind of pretty straight, but that flake makes it look like there's a notch over on that side. I might not make this one super sharp, because if it's going to be like a piece of jewelry, you don't want a razor blade neck, I guess. In fact, I might deliberately blunt these, just so it's safer to wear if that's what I do with it. Where's that little? There it is. Look at that. It was a bottle going in the trash. Now it is an arrowhead. Got a curve to it because the bottle had a bit of a curve. I could get rid of that entirely if I was willing to bring the length down a little bit. I'd probably also get rid of a bit of the curve at the tip with flakes, but since this one is not gonna, you know, get mounted to an arrow or anything, I don't think I'll go crazy with it. Let's see. Just trying to even out the notches a little bit. Well, here we go. We went from bottle to arrowhead. It took some effort, but, you know, that was made with something that was free. And now I've made something decorative, and if you were in a real bad survival situation, you'd have an arrowhead. So, kind of two ends of the spectrum. You know, ornamental and then life or death. But it's also, for me, just a way to learn more about the past and the ways people did things for thousands of years. Thanks, Joseph. And for anybody aspiring to, you know, learn flint knapping, I think this is a real good way to get into it. You don't have to order special stone or anything like that. Chances are you can find a bottle without much trouble. Just put a little curve down there, just to make it make it flow a little bit better. Break up the straight line down there. Thank you, Unicorn Queen. And show you there's the bottle. Missing its base because this came from right there. So I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I think this would make a kind of a nice pendant. So what if I got silver wire or silver colored wire, whatever, couple wraps around here, and then a nice twist to leave a loop, and then maybe a thin leather cord or something. So you could wear it like this. That'd look pretty cool. What do you think? Yeah. Little, no harm done. Jeez. Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, I guess it's time for me to start wrapping it up. I want to thank everybody for joining, for chatting, for liking, going to visit my my YouTube channel. It's just DougNorth.com, DUNORTH, and yeah, just a little test, a little quality control. It held up, but please, you should anticipate a form video coming out this week about this mysterious object. I will be showing you make it, how to use it, and a little bit on how it works, like why it works. Started a Patreon. It's at Doug North, DUGNOR. If you like what I do on here and you find you get consistent value out of it, well, then you could hop on over there and you know, be a supporter as well. If not, that's cool. Just come on back and we'll hang out and make stuff. But I appreciate all the support. I have a new short out too. I do a real quick overview of how to do a bow drill fire. I released that short. So if you're in your shorts feed or whatever, see if you can find me. And yeah, just a real, I mean, it's like sped up, but I narrate over it explaining what I'm doing. So it's like the fastest possible bow drill friction fire lesson, you know, that you could give. So I, once again, thank you all so much for showing up here and spending a little time with me, learning about stone tools and the way that they're made, and anything else I happen to be rambling on about. I hope it's entertaining. I hope it's educational. And I even though I can't see you and hear you, I want you to know I appreciate your support. Thanks a lot. And I hope you all have not just a great night, but a great year. I'll be coming back on during the evenings, you know, about this, where that time of day is for you, about this time, a little earlier, several times a week. I don't have a fixed schedule, but you'll be able to find me here practicing flint knapping. And I may start doing some lessons on other things, like maybe cordage making, maybe some other stuff. But until we meet again, Take care of yourself. Take care of other people. And I'll see you again soon. All right, I'm Doug North, and I'll see you.